Welcome back. We're here for a reason, and let's look at another Xbox One game. This one is another one that I've ordered from CEX, and it came from their website this time around. So where I've been buying games from sort of in-store in CEX, this one I was going through their stock list of games that they had, and primarily stuff that was on the cheaper end of the scale, because you have to take into account you've got to pay a couple of quid's worth of postage as well now. And I settled on this one, which is Demon Turf. I think that's quite an unusual release in general, because I'd never seen this before. I never even heard of it. But this is came out in November of 2021, and it is by Playtonic. They published it, and I believe that Playtonic have something to do with ukulele, if I remember correctly. Made up of sort of former Rare staffers. So if you remember Rare back in the N64 days, now the Xbox days, they've got quite a pedigree. But the developer of this game is I think they're called Fabraz or something like that, Fabraz. So yeah, November 2021 this came out. As you can tell by the box art itself, if you're an Xbox One collector, you'll know that they changed the top banner of the boxes quite a few times in the lifespan of the Xbox One. They don't seem to be able to settle on one particular art to use for the banners for the boxes, and even going as far as changing the boxes at some point where the artwork is larger in the boxes themselves. You can't use these boxes for newer games, which is a bit annoying really, because I keep getting a growing trend of buying from CEX, and the cases are getting a little bit worn now, making it quite irritating when you're collecting these games. But yeah, I mean, I was drawn to this game purely based on the artwork itself. I thought very reminiscent of something like Alex Kidd, sort of like throwback platformers like that. But this one's actually a fully 3D one, and looks pretty good, to be honest. It's quite fun. It was supposed to be a spiritual successor to Slime San, which is a 2.5D game, but they actually realised this in full 3D in the end, so it went on to be its own thing. But yeah, you play a character called Beebs in a quest to become the Demon Queen, Demon Queen. Jump, spin and punch your way across the Demon Turfs. Momentum-driven combat and self-placed checkpoints. That's quite an interesting point with this game, that reading up about it, you don't actually have a checkpoint system per se. You can set a certain amount of checkpoints to teleport back to, which is decided by you as the player yourself. I don't know whether that's going to make or break this game, but we'll see once we play it. Something that's quite interesting about this is that the physical version of it in Europe, I think only came out on the Xbox One. I can't actually find the other versions, the other platforms it came out on. Now, it came out on Switch, PS4, PS5, and also on the PC as well. Now, the PS5 and the Switch had physical versions that presumably, I think, were done by Limited Run Games in America. So they got their own physical versions, but over here Limited Run didn't do PEGI rated games at that time, so no one picked up the physical release for those two platforms. So if you do want a physical release of it, it seems like the Xbox One is the only way to get this, which seems a bizarre turn of events really, considering that in this day and age now, sort of 3 years later, almost 4 years later, that the Xbox One and series is usually left out of physical releases, and it's usually the Switch that always gets the physical releases. So it's quite an interesting turnabout there. But yeah, just a little sort of bite-sized piece of information for you, a little factoid. I think this did spawn a sequel, but I don't believe that ever came out physically, and I don't know what platforms it came out on. So I imagine it's just on some digital storefronts. Looking on eBay for this, it can be anywhere up to sort of £10 at the moment, if not a little bit more. So £4 from CEX seems a really good price. If you find it locally in one of the stores that you frequent, it's worth picking it up. Even worth once you add in the postage as well. It's still under eBay's price, and I can see maybe in years to come this one might start going up a little bit. It seems to have a decent pedigree to it, and doesn't seem to be a terrible looking game from the back of it. It looks like it actually might be quite fun. So yeah, that's on my recommended radar for this time around. Naturally, the games that you collect might differ from mine. I'm just going for stuff that I just haven't seen before, that might be slightly unusual, that might be worth playing as well. Disc isn't really much to write home about. It's, you know, standard fare on that one. I don't know whether it would have come with a booklet originally. This version doesn't, so I'm unsure if there is supposed to be a booklet with it, but it's very hit and miss with Xbox One stuff as it is anyway. I mean, the reviews of this game seem to be quite good. That the Xbox One / Series X version sort of 75 out of 100, so that's good. You know, it's quite well reviewed. So yeah, it could be quite an interesting and fun game to play, and I'm glad to add it to my collection. So that's one to look out for, and I'll check in with you again with another game at some point. So see you later.